and welcome to the Teaching Corner. Today I'm going to talk to you about how I use technology to be able to tutor online. With COVID-19, we're in a whole new world, and I went from somebody who only used the computer for under an hour a day at work to check emails and to correspond with parents to somebody who now has to use it all the time. A dear friend of mine asked me if I would do a video showing just how I'm using technology. Now I know there's lots of different kinds of resources out there and lots of different platforms that various teachers are using. So I'm basically going to just talk to you about how I scan my documents, how I use Zoom, and then also how I use Google Classroom. So the first thing that you have to do if you are using technology online and actually tutoring with your students, I know some schools are sending packets of information like hard copies and various things. Some people have online curriculum, but for different people, there's different ways to do it. The easiest way to do it is if you've already got it in a PDF format and you can just download the PDF. Unfortunately, I didn't have that. So the second easiest thing would be if you have a printer that has a scanner and you could scan the documents to yourself and email them to yourself. Again, I didn't have that capability. So the third option, which is the option I've had to choose, is I do have a smartphone. So I was able to download on my smartphone. There was a scanner that our school had suggested we use, but for our purposes, we were finding it difficult. So the one that we found the best for our family was Adobe Scanner, but there's lots of different ones out there. So just figure out the one that works best for you. But once you click on it, then you would just scan the document. It would take a picture, and then you press a button and you save the PDF and then email it to yourself. So once you've done that, what I do then is I will go to Zoom, and it's just www.zoom.com, and you can create a profile, and I've already done that. So then once I'm on there, I schedule a meeting, and I make sure that I put the student's name. Like I'll just put my name here, and then I'll put the date. The reason being, parents are getting a lot of emails, they're getting a lot of information, and so I want to make sure that they know which kid I'm talking about, because sometimes I do tutor more than one child in a particular family, and what day I'm talking about, because sometimes, like at one school that I'm at right now, we're tutoring on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. So if I do all my lesson planning, say on Saturday, and I'm sending all those emails, I want them to be sure that they're picking the right one. Then you go here and you select, and today's date is, actually I'll change this to Sunday because it is Sunday as I record this. And then the time, so right now it's close to 2:30, and then AM or PM. It defaults to an hour, but right now for teachers, there's not a time limit, so you don't actually have to worry about that. I will say, in my own personal experience, clicking on the recurring meeting, some of my students were having difficulty logging in, so I just send one every single time that we have a meeting. You want to be sure that you click on the video for you and the student, and I leave audio for both telephone or computer, and I enable a waiting room. They have changed it to where it now requires a meeting passcode because they were having people jump on and that weren't part of the class. So that will automatically generate a passcode, and then you hit save. And then I just copy that invitation and click copy meeting, and it'll save to your clipboard. So then I go to my email and I will literally copy and paste that entire invitation in there. It tells the student's name, what day we're doing it, it tells the time, all of that information. Then I will also, the information that I've scanned on Adobe Scanner and sent to myself, I will download that information to my computer, rename it, create a file for it, and then upload that PDF so that in the same email, a parent has the information for the Zoom meeting and the parent also has the papers that they're going to need to copy. Then for tutoring, I use a whiteboard and a marker, and I use that for the review and reinforcement part of my lesson, and then they have a hard copy for the new information and for the story that they're going to read. That way when we're doing it, there's a little bit more control as I'm doing the review and reinforcement if for some reason we're having difficulty, if I need to swoop a word or something like that. But then they also have that physical copy of the things that they're going to be working on that are new information for them. And I ask the students to always bring a pencil and a highlighter. But if for some reason in the craziness of all of this they forget, I just say it's okay, you can use a crayon, you can use whatever you have available. So that's how I tutor online. And then what I do with my other students is I use Google Classroom. So I'll go through the same process basically for downloading the information, but then I go to Google Classroom, and again, I've already got a classroom, but you go here to sign in, and you sign in with your information, and then you have various different classes. So one thing I will caution that I did not realize is when I originally did Google Classroom, it automatically linked, because my personal account is what is usually up on my computer, and it automatically linked to that, and I didn't catch it. So then when the students went to try to get into my classroom, they couldn't. So make sure that if it's going to just default to your personal, that you go in with your school email so that they can open it. If you need to add a classroom, that's up here, and you just click create class, and then you can name it whatever you need to name it. I've already got several, so I'm just going to show you here. I have a second graders. So what you do to give them that new information is you go up here to classwork, and you go create, and you click on assignment, and then you title it whatever the assignment is going to be and the instructions, and then you add, just like you would add to the email for the Zoom, you just add whatever it is that you're going to add. If you are creating something new, you're creating a new document, you can click on document and just create. I have sometimes just copied and pasted into that. But I'm going to take just a second and show you kind of what that looks like. So like for this student, we were reviewing the difference between a hard and soft G, and I always try to leave instructions for the parents. In this particular case, I'm not actually physically doing the tutoring. This is turned into more of like a consultative type of thing where they want us to upload it. This county that I'm in is not requiring the students to do the work, so I have to make sure that I leave it in such a way that the parents can understand what to do, and then when they click on the PDF, it automatically goes to the information for that particular student. So for my older students, I have created a different setup for them because it is a little bit more in depth. So what I did is create a document, and then I just update it every time, but it shows and it has also, it shows what the parent needs to say for the student to do, and then it also has the cards included for the parents to be able to use, as well as the sentences and stuff. And then at the very end, I've put blanks and things for them to be able to do the assignment. And then on the actual document, I also have a PDF that then has the words and phrases and sentences for the students to read. So that's a little bit more in depth because they're a little bit older, and it's a little bit easier for my younger students for them to be able to do at home. But again, this particular county, all of this up to this point has been optional. So you have to take that into account, how in depth you want to be with different things. But I hope that was helpful. If it was, please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you later. Bye.